Alright, so, application problems today. So, we have 4 steps in our application problem. Step 1 is to read the problem and to define your variables. What that means is there's going to be 2 variables in there that we're looking for, 2 unknowns. You need to figure out what they are and give them a label. Doesn't matter what variables you use, I really don't care. I'm going to use x and y 99% of the time. That's the way my brain is conditioned to work. Right? If you want to use things that match the problem, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to use x and y. Then what you're going to do with those 2 variables, you're going to take them and you're going to write a system of equations, aka you're going to have 2 equations that you need to make. Normally we're going to talk about money with an equation and quantity with an equation. It won't always happen like that. You got to figure out there's different pieces in that statement, in that question, and that's what we're going to use to write our system. Once you've gotten past step 2, it's just what you've been doing the last week. Fellas, shh. So, solve your system, right? Combination, elimination, substitution, equivalent forms, graphing. However you solve it that way. Alright? Once you get past that setup part, it's just like what we've been doing. The setup's the hardest part. And then the difference with our answers is we're writing a sentence to answer a question, right? They ask us a question, we should write a sentence to answer. We're not going to write as an ordered pair anymore. Not when it's a word problem.
I've never knocked them out.
So, an example. If they talk about 2 small pitchers, 1 large pitcher can hold 8 cups of water. 1 large minus a small constitutes 2 cups of water. How many cups of water can each pitcher hold? You'll notice they define their variables. They let x be the small, y be the large. They write a system based on the information they're given. They go ahead, they solve that system, and they write a sentence to answer the question. It's pretty easy. We're going to do 2 of them, and we're done. Imagine you just started a new summer job in an office. It's your first day on the job. The boss sent you out to pick up lunch for 23 people who work in the office. Turns out everyone wants either 1 hot dog or 1 hamburger. They can have one or the other. They can't have both. You arrive at Pop's customer to place your order. You realize you forgot to write down how many of each you're supposed to get. Hamburgers cost $1.50. Hot dogs cost $1.10. You were given $32.10 to pay for it. How many hot dogs and hamburgers were ordered? So first step, after reading that problem, we need to define our 2 variables, our 2 unknowns. What are our 2 unknowns?
How many?
Baker?
Hot dogs and hamburgers.
Hot dogs and hamburgers, right? The number of hot dogs I'm supposed to order and the number of hamburgers I'm supposed to order. So I'm going to let x be the number of hot dogs and y be the number of burgers. Like I said, if you want to use like H for hot dogs, B for burgers, go ahead and do it, but I'm going to use x and y. Second part, write a system of equations. We need to think about 2 things in this problem, they're probably different things, that I can use to write equations. Well, one of them I'm just going to use, how many am I going to get in total? How many hot dogs and hamburgers am I getting in total?
We don't know.
Baker? 23, right? We said there are 23 people and each one gets 1 or the other. Well, so if it's got to equal 23,
23.
so it equals 23, but what equals 23?
150 and 1.
That's talking, now you're getting into money, right? We're just talking about quantity right now. X plus y, the number of hot dogs plus the number of hamburgers needs to equal 23. Right? So x plus y has to equal 23. Well, that's the quantity part of it. There's a money portion of this, right? How much money am I spending?
32 to 27.
$32.10. So that's what it's going to equal. But then how do I figure out how I get there? Well, let's think about it. How much does a hot dog cost? $1.10. So for every x, it's $1.10. So 110 times x plus, how much does a hamburger cost? $1.50. So for every y, I pay $1.50. So 150y. And those are my 2 equations in my system. So what I need to do now is what we've been doing for this whole unit. Solve the system. So I'm going to do that by combination elimination. I'm going to multiply this top equation by negative 1.50. I'm going to try and get rid of my y. So I get negative 1.50x minus 1.50y equals negative 3450. Right? I took negative 1.50 and I multiplied by everything in this equation, so I got opposite coefficients for my y. Once I have opposite coefficients, what do I do?
Oh, you combine, subtract.
We combine them, right? 1.10 minus 1.50 is negative 0.4x. My y's cancel because they're opposite coefficients. Equals negative 2.40. Does that make sense? What we just did? Okay, where did I lose you guys?
Wait, why would you put
Wait,
why'd you put $250
Oh, wait, never mind.
Wait, why did I put what?
So $1.50 on the bottom, when there's already one.
So remember guys, so this equation right here came from me multiplying one of my original equations by something to get opposite coefficients for y. So I could cancel them. So I multiplied my top equation that I made by negative 1.50. So I multiplied x by negative 1.50, y by negative 1.50, and 23 by negative 1.50. So just like when we were multiplying by, like, let's say 3 or negative 2, same thing, but I'm just using a decimal this time so I can get rid of stuff.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay? Are we good now where we're at?
Kind of.
How do I solve from where I'm at?
Divide by negative 0.4.
Divide by negative 0.4. I'm going to get that x equals 6. Which means I need to buy 6 hot dogs. How do I figure out how many hamburgers I need to buy? What do you say, Ev? 23 minus 6, or in other words, we plugged it back in, right? We take 6 plus y equals 23, and we subtract 6. We get y equals 17, which means I need 17 hamburgers. Now our last step, step 4. Write a sentence to answer the question. Well, the question was, how many hot dogs and how many hamburgers were ordered? There were 6 hot dogs and 17 hamburgers ordered. Now, do I expect you to write a perfect sentence with no spelling errors and no grammar errors or anything like that? No, I really don't care. Now, should you do that? Probably. But am I going to mark it wrong if you put a comma or you put something? No, I'm not. Right? But you need to write an actual sentence. Answer the question.
Well, I got another question.
Yes, sir.
So wait, why did you plug in negative 150?
So I saw my 2 equations here, and I just want to get rid of y. So I multiplied by negative 1.50. Okay?
Yeah.
Alright. Moving on. Last problem. How about this? I will help you set this one up, and then you have to solve it. Okay. So Marvelous Maryland scored 273 points last season for her high school basketball team. Her points resulted from a combination of 2-point shots and 3-point shots. She made a total of 119 shots. How many of each type of shot did she make? Well, if I'm defining my variables here, if I define my variables, what are my variables? What am I looking for? 2-point shots and 3-point shots, right? I need to know how many she made. So X will be number of 2-point shots. No free throws. Number of 3-point shots will be Y.
Somebody just looked into class and then walked away.
Oh, was it Gotzler? Alright, write a system of equations. Let's think about it. what kind of equation can I make? I'm going to probably make one that deals with points and one that deals with shots. Right? So, which one do you want to do first? Shots or points?
Shots.
Shots, alright. So, how many shots did she make?
119.
She made a total of 119 shots. So, it's going to equal 119. Well, what equals 119? X plus Y, right? The number of 2-point shots plus the number of 3-point shots is equal to the total number of shots. Okay, well what about the points?
273.
She made 273 points. Well, for X, how many points does she get if she makes a shot for X? 2. So 2X plus
3 watt.
3Y, because she gets 3 points for every 3-point shot. This is the hardest part of the application problems, is setting up the equations. Right? Once you get past here, smooth sailing. Right? So make sure you're defining. This one's based off of shots. This one's based off of points. There should be a certain theme to each equation. Go ahead and solve it. Go ahead, do it. I'm going to do it up here while you do it on your paper, and then we'll compare answers. I did that wrong. Is that right?
It's 119 plus 119. 119 plus 119.
I got 33 for Y. I'm sorry, it's 35. I don't know how you.
Did you set yours up just like mine?
Did you put,
I got
did you switch the
35.
variables? Yeah, did you switch the,
Are your variables
you
different
got
then?
the same thing, you switched the variables.
Hold on.
Wait, is,
Why are you guys 35?
It should be Y. It should be Y, okay? It should be Y.
Yeah.
This should be X then. Everyone makes mistakes, you don't need to yell at us.
Okay, stop. I'm kidding. And then that was what was that? I've never seen that in my life.
You got it?
Yeah, you're gonna keep confused that this is like all
I
the
do
time.
not. I gotta look at it because I just like did. You do. Yeah, yeah. I.
I'm not testing how many people substances like English for like 84
Write a sentence. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you plug in Y now?
So, if Y equals 35, plug it into here.
That's
Right?
hilarious.
X plus 35 equals 119. Alright guys, hey, how'd you do? Good?
Good.
So-so? Good, so-so?
I got it right.
Wait to see everybody's thumb. Alright, any questions?
No.
Cool beans, that's it.
Boom.
subscribe.